back is getting tight.
Your back is getting tight.
My arms are getting weary. My back is
This
getting tight.
is like a Marvin Gaye song that I don't know about.
Oh yeah, Marvin Gaye did the King of Queens theme song. Little known fact.
I've never... Hi, welcome back to Eardrum Solo. I'm here with my close friend, Mr. Wavvy. Mr. Wavvy, welcome to the show.
What's up, what's up? Thank you for having me.
So you're a journalist in the Montreal music scene right now, and I was hoping that you could talk a little bit about your experience in journalism up until this point, and especially what it's like going on now with the whole coronavirus thing, really disrupting a lot of shows and a lot of interviews, which was your specialties.
For sure. Well, I started doing this when I was 16 years old, 7 years ago. And I was working for a company called Wavvy at the time, which is the origin of the Mr. Wavvy name. I always wish it was a cooler story. It's very...
You also had wavy hair.
lame.
I just assumed it was a hair thing.
You never knew that?
I maybe you told me. Yeah.
But yeah, it was also like wavy means kind of like what turnt means or what crunk means. Just like drunk or high and a party animal. So for me to be 16 with this huge fro and glasses, and I mean, I was working with frat bros, so everyone else was literally wavy and I was just an awkward kid. So for me to be called that was definitely kind of an oxymoron.
Yeah.
And so started with Wavvy 2013 and, you know, captured a few Pokeballs, did a few interviews, and a few months later broke off and did my own thing and been doing it ever since. I've gotten the chance to speak with so many artists I respect and appreciate, and a lot of just super interesting conversations. You know, other than Wavvy, I've been able to work with Cult Montreal, where I'm a staff writer, OK Player, which is Questlove's website. I work with Red Bull quite a bit, Gigwise out in the UK. And,
Oh, hell yeah, man. I remember because I've, of course, have stalked your YouTube channel. And when you first started out especially and you started putting your stuff out there, a lot of people in the comments were talking about how awkward the interviews are. And do you want to talk about that and maybe how those videos started off, especially getting views and getting talked about?
Yeah, so the first couple of interviews we did, just if you still go on YouTube, they're not past 500 views, either of them. And so then we did this third interview, and I had a meeting with my boss before, and he's telling me, instead of doing just, 6-minute long or whatever they are, full interviews, let's just make viral content. So let's take the interviews and split them up into smaller parts and just make things that are more just internet savvy, especially at the time, 2013. And so I did this interview with an electronic group called Cruella, and the clip was me in thick glasses and a Muhammad Ali hat and a fro, and just hitting on all the members, 2 girls, 1 guy, just with like corny
Gross.
like, are you from Tennessee? Because I don't know if that was one of them, but it was stuff on that level. And then I just danced with them. There's no actual serious there's like a
got
second
no
of a
information
question.
from
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
And so, I had been advised to upload the videos at a certain time because there's a certain time that gets a lot of virality. And I didn't have that many views on the other 2. And so I put this on. It was my mother's birthday. I went to dinner. I came home and we had something like 8,000 views. I had no clue where they came from. So I started looking at the analytics, and I see they're all coming from Reddit. So I punched the video into Reddit, and where does it pop up? r/cringe.
Oh, boy.
And it says awkward kid interviews Cruella or something along those
Who
lines.
do you think was the first person to find that? Maybe it was your boss who wanted it to go viral and uploaded it to...
I don't think so.
Probably not.
But once that happened, and being the 17-year-old kid at the time, you're at an impressionable age, but I just saw the views and I just saw where it went and how it got all of those views. And the second I read the comments, I started laughing. And you like from the get-go, you could just not take that stuff personally.
Yeah, dude. I think you're lucky in that, though, in that you looked at the comments and you did not, you brushed it off. Because
well, not only that, but we then took all these Reddit accounts from our company, and we would just post the videos on r/cringe as third-party people. We wouldn't
cheating.
say, check out Mr. Wavvy, da-da-da, because that's not what Reddit is. Reddit is not for self-promotion.
Look at this awkward piece of shit interview.
Yeah, that's what... No, my cameraman did that. My cameraman did something like... I just told, hey, Nick, can you just post this on r/cringe? He's like, oh yeah, for sure. It's like most awkward fucking interview I've ever seen. I can't believe this. This is disgusting. I was like, you didn't have to say it like that, but
that you should have taken personally. That's a lot. No, because I remember when I first started making short films, I opened. No, it was before this. It was when I first started reviewing movies, which must have been 7th grade. I posted an unbroken. It was me in front of photo booth on my 2011 MacBook Pro.
Here's the $1 million question though. Did you have a cool backdrop on photo booth? Or?
No. It was a beige wall. Not only that, but my camera was, or my laptop was like leaning on something, so the whole thing was like sideways, and it was just me. Like I had just hit puberty, so my voice was like riding that line, and it was just.
But see, you should have been riding the roller coaster on photo booth, because then you would have got views. If you had been riding
No, but I was talking about Prisoners, right? I'm talking about this movie that is absolutely just pitch black. It is dark as hell. And it was just like me being like, this is the best movie I've ever... Anyway, I posted
You should have been on the part where Hugh Jackman tortures Paul Dano.
I hate you. No, but I just remember I woke up the next morning and I went to go check. It's like, ooh, has this gone viral yet? And sure enough, I got like 30 views or something. And I got one comment. It said, kill yourself. And I got 6 likes. So, like, statistically, that's a lot of likes for a comment. Yeah. I got, like, no likes on the video. And, I was just like, all right, well, I guess being a YouTuber isn't for me. And I just deleted my account.
I look back at the beginning of the pandemic at some of the YouTube comments. I hadn't just sat back and watched the videos in years, especially that I'm so far removed from them now. Some of them are, 5-6 years back in time. And, I think my favorite one I saw was... Oh man, this kid's so fucking awkward. Why does he get to do interviews? I was
Why
like,
can't I do interviews?
No, they were like, I was like that at my age, and no one gave me a fucking camera and a mic and told me to interview celebrities. That was so funny.
It's like a weird jealousy, I guess.
I didn't always take things super. I don't present myself super seriously. Like I kept things light, especially towards the beginning.
Right. It's not like 60 Minutes or anything.
Yeah, exactly. And some guy just got so upset in the comments. Just like, fuck you for wasting my time, Mr. Wavvy. You had time with one of the most intellectual artists of our generation, and you just wasted it. You wasted it singing DuckTales theme song. And then he just kept on commenting on my other videos, like after saying fuck you, you wasted my time. Like, if I wasted your time, why did you continue?
Stop coming back.
But the best thing he said on another video was, fuck you, Mr. Wavvy. Go get your master's degree or something.
Stop doing what you love and go to school.
I was like, cool, thanks.
Yeah, it's cool, man. He's probably your number one fan at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, he's definitely the one that, like,
I'm living in his head rent free.
His nightmares of you. Do you have a favorite interview at all? Like one that really sticks out, like highlight of your career kind of thing?
I can't pick favorites. That's like asking your parents who their favorite kid is. Like, of course they pick one of your sisters and not you. But
yeah, obviously.
They wouldn't
it's
say
just which one.
They wouldn't say it out loud.
Yeah, that's true. I think all parents actually have a favorite kid. Yeah. Like, I don't believe them when they say, I love you all equally. No.
Yeah.
Like, that's not true. I'm sure today...
You get that when people die, too. Like, you get people that will come up to you at funerals and be like, you were the favorite son. Yeah. Or whatever.
Gotta wait for one of them to go to be like, oh, I was the okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That was a weird off-topic segue. Yeah, but I know you don't have a favorite, but are there any...
Because every interview, too, I've been doing this for almost 7 years, and, every interview speaks to a different phase of my life and a generation of my career. And so... I don't mean to sound corny or anything, but certain interviews served a great purpose at a certain time. But I think it shifts as my career goes on. I'll always appreciate some of those early ones. Tech9, Travis Barker, even G-Eazy, man. Like, I interviewed G-Eazy when he was homeless the first time.
That's actually crazy.
He was just living off of his bus. I think he technically had the money to have a place, but he was touring so much that he packed up 2 pairs of Jordan and some all-black outfits and just toured.
Wow.
And I think my favorite thing from that interview was, at least the first one, we did the interview and then I took out my phone to like get him to follow me or text him something, and he jumped. He's like, yo, what the fuck is that? And I had a Galaxy, and I'm like, oh, it's my phone? It's like, yeah, that's not an iPhone. I said, yeah, it's an Android.
Was he serious? Like,
Yeah, 100% serious.
What?
Yeah.
It was the first. So you were the first person to ever show G-Eazy an Android phone.
I think so.
Fuck, man. Okay, yeah, that's great. I know you interviewed Mac Miller, which I know for you is like quite important. Do you want to talk about that at all, or?
Yeah, for sure. Well, with Mac, that was the first big interview I got.
Yeah.
With Wavvo. It just showed from an early age that there's no need to limit your ambitions. That was a huge artist at the time, and that was someone that a lot of people our age admired a lot. And, he was super down to earth and all things considered, super easily accessible. And, for me, as a nerdy Jewish kid who loves movies and hip hop, it's like looking in a mirror with another nerdy Jewish kid who loves movies and hip hop.
Exactly.
We had a real great conversation, and he was a real sweet guy, just super. Like social interactions are like a game of tennis. You always want to keep that ball going back and forth.
Right.
And he's Roger Federer with that. He gave us a great conversation and had great things. And I know the interview meant a lot to him too, because I asked him about a collaborative project he was working on with Pharrell called Pink Slime that kind of got pushed under the rug. And I know me asking that question triggered one last attempt to make that album happen. If you go back in his tweets, he tweets Pink Slime in November of 2013, minutes after the interview was done. He does an interview with Rolling Stone a few weeks later where he reiterates, we're going to get that album done. People have been asking. He was specifically talking about that interview that triggered everything. So
wow.
if I can make an impact like that on someone, not only as a journalist, but as a fan, like I really wanted that project to happen. That's humbling.
Yeah. I think something I've always valued about you as a journalist is I find a lot of journalism takes itself very seriously, and I think there is a place for very serious journalism, even in the music community. Like doing a very bare bones interview, asking about lyrics or simply just like asking about the past or the new album, but. I always loved that you were always extremely playful in your interviews. I remember I helped you film a Dune Rats interview, which never came out, and it was
still
great.
Still in the vault.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a ball,
called me a
man.
cunt a bunch of times.
They're Australian. It was a compliment, I guess, at the time. Yeah, man. But exactly. I mean,
well, I started when I was 17, so I think it just would have been strange if I took myself too seriously.
Yeah.
There's no I'm this awkward 17-year-old kid. When the comments were happening, when all of that was happening, it was not, let's eternalize this or let's get upset about this. Let's take this and run with it. So we made the slogan for Mr. Wavvy, your daily dose of awkward. We wanted to embrace the awkward and be the awkward and just hone in on it.
Heck yeah, man.
And part of that was just not always taking myself super seriously. There's a time and place for everything. There's some interviews where I wanted to talk about the more sophisticated topics. And then there's others like Mac DeMarco where I went and I looked and I said, I don't have anything serious to ask him. Let me make him a necklace made out of cigarettes with a Steely Dan emblem and kiss him.
Beautiful. Yeah, man. What interview was it that you did where it was you showed up in the Borat thong?
The Fat Jew.
It was the fat. Of course, it was the Fat Jew. I knew that. Just another daily dose of awkward, I guess.
Yeah. Well, with that one, that was at a Jewish charity event that he was hosting, and the people I set it up with were professionals from Just for Laughs Comedy Festival, and they take themselves pretty seriously, and I value my relationship with them. Shout out them to this day. And so when they asked me to do this Fat Jew thing, I was kind of like, same situation. I didn't have too much to ask him, so I thought, what's just something ridiculous that I could do? So I pulled through in a Borat bathing suit. And this is like a cocktail event. Everyone's in very formal attire.
Did you expect that? Did you expect it, like everyone to be dressed so formally?
Yes.
Okay.
I dressed up formally too. Like you see me in the interview, and I was underdressed there because I was just trying to not have to take off too many clothing for this thing. But I wore a button up and some nice jeans, some khakis, I think. And I'm sweating bullets when I get there because I have this. I go to the washroom the second I get there. I put this Borat thing on and I come back down. And the
Look
guy.
At yourself in the mirror.
So it was Lee Habercorn from Virgin Radio. Shout out Lee, good friend of my sister. And so I'm sweating bullets and I see him and I go, Lee, look, I got to tell you something. Man. Come here, I'm freaking out. And he says, what's up? I said, I pull my shirt back. I'm like, I'm wearing a Borat thing under. I'm gonna take it. He's like, oh, dude. Like, you think they'll care? This is the only time I don't care what people think in terms of my work, but I care if I have a professional relationship with someone that I'm not going to hinder it by being offensive.
Exactly.
And so he's just like, yeah, dude, I love it. And so I went in and started unbuttoning during this interview and there's all sorts of people around just stunned. And the interview goes well. He's like grabs my balls at some point of the interview. And just a lot of dick jokes, just a lot of real...
I'm not surprised.
High tier, nothing lowbrow about it. But we do the interview and I start pulling up my pants after it's done. And I look over to the side and I see the publicists from Just for Laughs and they're pointing at me. They say, you, come over here. And I walk over and I'm like, oh fuck, this is not going to go well. Oh fuck. And then she comes up to me, the lady, Stephanie, and she says, you are... Like, oh fuck, here we go. I fucked up this relationship. No more Just for Laughs and no more... You are a riot. That was hysterical. I was like, oh my God. Thank God.
Do you think she did she take an actual pause after you are? Just to mess with you a little bit? Or
she said it very slowly.
Okay, yeah.
And I've brought it up with her almost every single time I've seen her since. And we've done interviews super recently and she's great and she really doesn't care. I just didn't want to be in a situation where I'd make people in a work environment uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
But at the same time, I think if you work at Just for Laughs, you know how to take a joke and
that's your job.
Yeah.
Almost, yeah.
People are going to move to a beat of a different drum.
Well, that's great, man. I mean, you've been around, I guess, the Montreal music industry or the music business quite a bit for a couple of years. And I was hoping we could potentially talk about the state of Montreal music, because I know we have a lot of great music coming out, just like a lot of emerging artists. I mean, we have one right behind you, my personal favorite, Pottery, on the bottom left over there. Came out of Montreal. They opened for every prominent psychedelic rock band for 2 years. And
shout out Pottery.
Shout out Pottery, yeah. But I was just hoping that you could generally talk about the state of the Montreal music industry.
What in particular?
Do you think Montreal has the potential to be one of the big music hubs in the world? Because obviously there's LA, but I know there are plenty of cities that are really known for having a lot of emerging artists. And I think Montreal's picking up quite a bit of steam.
Mm-hmm. Well, even at the turn of the last decade, you saw Toronto having a huge emergence because of Drake and then, the Weeknd treading not too far behind. And,
right.
And now you got all sorts of acts like Jesse Reyes and Shawn Mendes and Majid Jordan, all sorts of tremendous acts. But I think the infrastructure in Toronto is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
You could look at Toronto as the New York of Canada, if you will.
Right.
I think the French in Montreal is a gift and a curse, because if you know how to do it properly, you could capitalize off of a francophone market. But at the same time, there's only so many English people that you could reach within your city.
Right.
So the touring infrastructure, if you're a Quebecois artist, is brilliant. You could go all over the province and then do France and Belgium, and that's all you have to do touring. Look at any French rapper. You look at Loud, you look at Fouki, mm-hmm. You look at so many of those guys, and they'll never have the wherewithal of touring the States. And even if there's cities like LA that have good French from France populations and stuff, they just wouldn't bother. They're going up north to Rouyn-Noranda or Sherbrooke near the border. And they're fine, and they'll do tours, and they'll have sometimes they'll have a French from France artist open for them, and then they'll go do their tour and have the opposite.
Yeah, I've seen that done quite a few times. But I do know what you mean by it being a blessing and a curse, because
it works for French artists.
Exactly.
And so if you're an English artist and you sign to a Quebec label, the infrastructure is not the same for them. And so you're working off of the same foundation, but it's just not going to help your career the same way if you make music in English.
Right. No, exactly. I know there's a couple small independent record labels here in Montreal
mm-hmm.
that are majority English.
Yeah.
But like you said, I think it's really different than Toronto. But I think especially recently, I've been paying a little bit more attention to the acts that we have here.
Yeah.
And I mean, you and I, we saw this young woman named Story who put out this unbelievably good self-produced album.
My favorite album of the year.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And
she's got another project about to come out too.
I'm super hyped. I've watched, the side point, I watched quite a few of her live streams. And she's,
hell yeah,
super, super, super talented. But that's just one example, it's... We have so much, and I know Cult Montreal put out a list of top 10 musical artists from Montreal, and there were so many absolutely incredible ones. And even I've gone around very, very local Montreal music industry. I played in a band where I opened for quite a few other bands. There is so much out there. I guess you're right in that Montreal has a lot of great artists, but the bilingual aspect of the city is putting some very interesting restrictions on, for sure.
I think it's also a hive mind thing to some extent too. Everyone wants to be the Drake of Montreal in the sense that they want to be the first to make it, and then the rest of the city follows. And I think, unfortunately, there's very few artists who would feel a genuine sense of pride and happiness if someone else made it that wasn't them first, and then being cast in a shadow.
Right. We brought up the Story album, which we both loved. Are there any potentially Montreal or just Canadian artists that have put out other works this year that you think people should check out, or me, or anybody?
Montreal artists.
Because I know you brought up Robert.
Yes,
local,
I was listening to his album earlier today. Fantastic stuff. I was listening to another on the way here. I mean, there's just a lot of fun singles too that have come out. Nate Husser, he put out something on Empire Distribution, which broke Kendrick's career and handles Snoop and E40 albums and all sorts of stuff like that. So that's cool. But even talking about the infrastructure, he went to a label or a distribution company that's based in San Francisco.
Right.
Zach Zoya put out an awesome single and video called Slurpee. Really, really fun video. He's got a deal that involves Universal. It's just like an old Missy Elliott or Busta Rhymes video. It's just, he sees so much effort put into it in the best way possible.
Awesome.
So much production value. I'm trying to think. Xena, Suburbs, she's great. She's got a management deal with Rock Nation. I'm not just trying to, throw accolades out there. Like, these artists are great. There's a lot of great artists.
Yeah, no.
Just
answering the question for sure.
Yeah, but there's a lot of great artists that I don't have to name drop a label or anything.
Yeah, exactly. One that comes to mind, other than Pottery, I know Half Moon Run, not as local, but larger one, put out an EP, a folk EP, and it's absolutely wonderful, like most of the stuff is. Also, Mackie Lavender put out an album earlier this year. I think he's putting out, I don't know if it's a new EP or an album as well, but
yeah, he just put out.
Yeah, well, heck yeah, man. I mean, earlier this year, I remember he dropped one, I think, in January or February. I think it was February. It was really great. And, it's just great to, be in a city where so much is happening musically. Even with the pandemic, I think we've been blessed with quite a few amazing albums this year.
Let me ask you this, because it came out in December and we've had some time to sit with it. What do you think of Kate Trinada's recent project?
Okay. I think it's good. I think it's quite good.
Have you listened to it a lot recently, or
not a lot recently, but I've listened to it.
Did you step back from it? I mean, and then
I took some time and I came back to it. I think it's got a number of really good songs. I think it's a little more forgettable than his other one, because I think his 99.9% is personally, I think, is one of the best electronic albums of the 2010s probably. Yeah,
I agree.
And this was it's good, but I was hoping he'd take more risks. Because I think the parts that I liked the most about 99.9% were the very out there parts, or the parts where it was just him, it was just production, and it was him yeah, exactly. That's also a personal taste thing.
No, I agree with you. I think this album too, I'm still not clear exactly what it was, but he had some sort of deal with RCA and Sony. So I think being on a major label, there's just certain luxuries that you have that are allocated to you by being on that different level of a deal, and you wanted to work with some bigger artists like Kali Uchis or Tinashe or and just Pharrell, obviously. I like it the more I listen to it, but I agree. I think it's almost just he's cultivated such a unique sound to the point where what to. I know he's telling me to crack my water bottle.
Yeah. It's all right.
He's cultivated such a unique sound, but it's at a point where you almost know what to expect with it.
Exactly. It's a unique sound, but I'd love to see him develop it further, maybe bring it in some new directions.
Some of the best beats he does end up going to his brother, Lou Phelps.
Yeah, exactly. We saw it at the Lou Phelps show.
Super interesting stuff. I know he has another album coming out, and I know he himself has been producing as well. Yeah, Katra handled a lot of the production on that last album of his, and very, very interesting stuff.
I'd love to see him do a Mad Lib type thing where he has a whole album with a rapper or a singer.
Well, he has a project with Anderson .Paak. I just don't know if they're going to put it out.
Is it like a full project? I thought it was just like a song or two.
It's an EP of some sort.
Awesome.
They have enough for an EP is what I understand.
Okay.
We heard that one song. We went to a show and heard a song. I don't know what it's called still. It's called All I Want to Do or something.
Yeah.
Or Shine On. All I Want to Do is Get My Shine On was the chorus. And it's Kate Trinada, Anderson .Paak, and Schoolboy Q. And super, super fun.
Why do you think they sit back, like certain artists record songs, then just hold them back? Wouldn't it be like make more sense to just put him out there, especially now when people want
Well, I
to
think
listen
there's
to
so many more artists that do that nowadays. There's so many more artists that it's almost just, and not necessarily in a bad way, but it's just more about quantity than it is quality. Not necessarily that, just more about living in the
I know what you
moment.
mean. Yeah.
They're not necessarily considering longevity the way they used to.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just putting out what you're making right now and offering it right now and getting immediate. Everything's immediate.
Right.
And so I think that's a big part. But I mean, I think in particular with the song we just discussed, I mean, collaborative efforts are difficult. It could just be he liked it or one of them liked it and then one of them didn't feel comfortable with it. You need clearance from the artists. Mm-hmm. Do you remember? I know because he came and spoke to your high school. Do you remember there was an artist from Montreal who had a song with Kendrick that he just held on to for too long?
Yes.
Jonathan Emile.
Yes.
Had a song with Kendrick, probably recorded around the time that High Power came out. Or earlier, it's not clear. But point being, he recorded the song with Kendrick a long time ago. Came to your school when you guys were, I don't know, 2012, 2013? Good Kid had come out already.
After that. Good, it was after that.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I know Good Kid had at least come out already. So he's going around and doing these, motivational speeches at schools?
Yeah.
And he's just casually dropping his song with Kendrick. And I don't know, from what I understand, you guys loved it. My brother was in your grade and...
we've actually had a couple of people, like celebrities, come speak at our school. I know, I don't remember the Jonathan Emile one too well. I remember enjoying it. The one that really stuck out to me was Patrick Watson came, because he used to go to the school.
Nice.
And he just did like a super stripped back piano cover of like a bunch of his songs. And I had never heard his stuff before, and it was just gorgeous.
Yeah.
I was just like, whoa, like holy crap.
With Jonathan Emile, I think the thing was when he finally decided to put out this song with Kendrick, the label tried to veto it and get it taken down. And their justification was some songs are just like fresh fruit. They have an expiration date and you've held on to this verse for a half decade or what have you. And it just doesn't make sense for our artists to be on a song that's put out and people think it's recent or whatever the case.
Fair. Yeah, no, I get that. What a missed opportunity, though. That could have done a lot for his career.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think even if he put it out back in the day, like you when you look up an artist for the first time, you sometimes go back to their earliest song on Spotify or whatever.
Oh, for sure. I mean, definitely would have gotten quite a few plays.
It's weird too, because Lil Wayne did it also. Lil Wayne had that Carter 5 album that like leaked because of Martin Shkreli or whatever. Lil Wayne sold his car to someone and left the album inside. And someone sold it to Martin Shkreli on the black market. And so we had this full completed Lil Wayne album, which is different from the version that came out. But some of the songs remain, and particularly the one with Kendrick, Mona Lisa, remain, which is an excellent song.
Yeah.
But it was clearly recorded in 2013 or 14, and the album came out in 2018. And it just sounds like a very dated Kendrick verse.
Yeah.
Particularly Kendrick. Kendrick has done so much with... mixing in his voice, and it just sounded dated. It sounded like why am I listening to an album I'm in university that was recorded while I'm in high school? Right.
Yeah, I mean, if I were an artist and I had somehow made it big, like, I'm sure I'd want to be pretty protective over what earlier stuff comes out. You know what I mean? Because I know there are certain artists. I talked about this with Chris when I was with him, but an artist like Will Toledo from Car Seat Headrest has all the stuff he recorded when he was like 17 years old out there, and it's unlistenable and whiny and it's shit.
Yeah.
But he's cool with it because it's part of the band's appeal is that he started off when he was young. But if I were a different artist, I mean, personally, if I had made it big, like, I would never want any of my early stuff to get
I don't
out there.
delete my Instagram pictures.
You should. I had to go through my
Insta. I have shit from 2012 on there.
Oh, sick.
And my theory is if you had a photo album in your house, you wouldn't burn the pictures in your photo album if you didn't like them. Yeah, but I understand it's public.
You didn't publish your photo album online, though. That's the difference.
But I want to be able to use Instagram like I use a photo. I want to be able to show my kids my Instagram.
Sure, that's cute. I think a good
blemishes included.
Right. I think a good reason to delete something is if there's something offensive in it or anything that will be like not look good to an employer. Yeah. But
like Nick Cannon on a podcast.
We promised we wouldn't talk about that. All right.
So, what is your favorite Nick Cannon song? Can you name one?
The America's Got Talent theme song. I actually don't think I can.
There's a song that he had an album. I don't know if it was unreleased. Yeah, I guess it was like unreleased stuff. It's called like Children of the Corn or something like that. And there's a song, you know, Hey Big Spender.
Corn spelled Korn, and it's a Korn remix.
You know, Hey Big Spender, that Hey Big Spender, spend a little time with me. It's like, I don't know if it's a Broadway song or something of that era.
Does not ring a bell.
And anyway, they just like have an obnoxious rap version with him and Kanye. And it's one of the only Kanye songs I just strongly dislike. Like, that's how bad Nick Cannon is as a rapper, that he ruined a Kanye song.
Sick.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad he's bad at rapping.
Yeah.
Like, makes me feel a little good inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, we probably moving on. I don't want to
digress.
Yeah. Hey, you're on a podcast. Careful not to say anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything anti-Semitic. Anyway, I guess.
What about anti-symmetric? What if I just don't like circles?
I'm sure that's on the Urban Dictionary. Like, it's got to be there. Anyway, anti-Semitism. Is there anything you're looking forward to musically for the rest of 2020? Anything in particular that jumps out that you want to give a shout out to?
I don't know if Rihanna's going to put out an album, but I always love to hear what she's up to. I think it's done. I think she has like a reggae album locked and loaded.
Oh, really? Reggae?
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
She's worked with a lot of dancehall producers, and
awesome, man.
it's a lot of cool. I think it just works so well for her being from the Caribbean. But from the Caribbean. That's
the
one of those
Caribbeans?
things.
Which
yeah,
ones?
All of them.
All of the Caribbeans.
but
All 8.
But yeah, she said at the beginning of the pandemic that I'm not putting out an album right now because I'm trying to save people, unlike your fucking president. She said something along those. I'm paraphrasing, but
good for her.
She called the president a dipshit, or along those lines.
Nice.
Yeah. So that definitely looking forward to. And then Eminem has these artists from Buffalo named Westside Gunn and Conway, and they're super.
I know Westside Gunn.
Underground, just grimy rap, and so they're about to put out their major label. I was about to say Major Lazer. Major label.
Major
debuts.
Lazer debut.
And,
all bands are contractually obligated to do an album with Major Lazer now.
Yeah.
I'm excited, man. I heard Kendrick is doing a rock album, or
rock inspired. Yeah, I think it's done. Also, I think he was gonna play Osheaga this week.
Yeah.
He had at least that show announced
this week.
Yeah, it was
wow,
4 days from now. He's about to play Sunday, and so I think he has an album ready to go, and he's just waiting for it to be tourable. I know a lot of artists have that. I know Big Boy from Outkast has an album locked and loaded. I know Alicia Keys was about to put out an album in March and just delayed it indefinitely.
Right.
And I understand it. Like, you want to tour and you want to make the most of, not only a moment of time, but have it be an experience.
Right. For sure, man. I mean, I definitely understand why any kind of label would want to hold back dropping an album, especially because a lot of artists, they make most of their money on touring. Yeah. And if you release an album now and you go tour for it in a year from now, less people are going to want to go. It's very, very straightforward. But I think we've also been blessed with some albums that have been released, not just released, but also recorded in quarantine. I mean, you have Charlie XCX's How I'm Feeling Now, which is, I have no idea how she did that in quarantine. I think the production on that is so good that it's shocking.
I don't know. I think the lyrics, it sounds like it's something made in quarantine.
No, lyrically, I think
it's nothing overly elaborate.
No, for sure.
I liked it. It was a one-time listen for me. I've listened to a few songs since. But yeah, for me, a cool one is Dua Lipa putting out an album, because that definitely could have been a big touring album. Who knows? Maybe if she played the cards right and got a good opening act, she could have done somewhat of an arena tour.
I think so, especially now. I mean, the album was a massive, massive hit. I mean, tons of songs charted from that. I mean,
if Camila Cabello was about to go on an arena tour, I feel like she could pull it off too.
Absolutely. For sure. No, I agree with you. Also, Taylor Swift just put out Folklore.
Yeah.
I haven't had enough time to make an opinion about it, but it's quite good.
So who do you think, when we get back to touring, who do you think is going to, that hasn't before, who do you think is going to be able to do arenas now? Or mid-sized arenas, even what we at Place Belle, we have in Laval with 10,000 as opposed to 20.
That's a good question.
Because some artists, that venue that we have in Laval is great, so they could be mid-range concerts. Like Camila Cabello was about to do one. I think Dua Lipa could totally.
I think DaBaby.
I was gonna say that was.
I think he's put out so much material that easily he could do a full tour and not repeat a song. He's put so much.
Yes and no, because they all sound redundant. But
Uh-oh.
Well, it's when he has the producer, the producer that does most of his stuff that says, "Oh Lord, Jetson made another one."
Yeah.
It's like, no, he didn't. He made the same fucking one 10 times.
They just changed the lyrics. It's the same one.
Every time I heard that tag, I just imagine him looking like Egbert from the Looney Tunes. Like, you know what I'm talking about? The other bird with the glasses.
Oh my god.
I don't know why. Why wouldn't I think of the Jetsons?
That's incredibly specific.
Yeah.
And unrelatable.
Yeah.
So,
And I looked it up, and he had like a normal size head, and
yeah.
didn't look like that whatsoever.
Okay. I just think it's great that there's an artist named Da Baby and Lil Baby that rose at exactly the same time.
Yeah,
And
I think they could do
similar
I think they could
features.
do a full blown arena tour if they really wanted to.
Oh, absolutely. They'd absolutely, like, for sure. I can imagine selling out Plas Bell. They could even do the Bell Center.
That's what I'm saying.
Fully. I'm trying to think. I know, because I'm trying to think of bands that have consistently sold out smaller venues. I mean, one that comes to mind is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I don't know if I feel like if they picked the locations correctly.
It would have to be like a small run.
Yeah. So I know Ween, for example, they do very small tours where they go to like between 4 and like 6 cities, but they all sell out and they play massive venues because they select the cities correctly.
That's what Lady Gaga was about to do. She was going to do a stadium tour instead of arenas, where she could do 50,000 instead of 20,000. So she was just going to do Toronto and I think a few other cities around the States. I don't honestly remember the other ones. But
people would come out. I mean, big fans would come out for that.
Yeah,
for sure.
She has a dedicated fan base. That's, for me, she's the coolest artist to put out an album because she really thrives off of touring.
Yeah.
And really puts so much into it. The only thing not the only thing, but I think the thing I was most disappointed. I like the album, Chromatica, but I was really hoping Sophie would be on production because they had talked about it at some point.
Oh wow, no, that'd been amazing.
Yeah, and it fits,
I'm sure they'll
right
collaborate
up the
eventually.
alley.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to see Lady Gaga do something
right up the alley. Get it? Like a character in A Star Is Born.
Oh my god. I don't know their names, buddy. I just know that she was born. That was about it.
Well, to be fair, there's like that billboard in the movie. This is Alley, and I passed by it in real life. They made it real, that you could see it from.
That's a great advertising.
And then I guess Amy Schumer was promoting something also because she made the exact same poster that just said Amy, the same hair, same everything, just across the street.
Good for her. Good for her. I guess we'll wrap things up. I'd just like to say big thank you for being here. I love you very much.
I love you too, man.
I'm very flattered that you decided to come on this and let me pick your brain for a bit.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. I'd also like to thank you at home for listening.
If you're not at home, it's cool too. If you're on the toilet.
Where's your toilet? Is it not at home?
No, but if you're in a public restroom and you just...
Yeah. I'd like to only thank those of you who are at public restrooms.
Yeah, especially now during COVID. You're taking such a risk.
That's
spending
true.
so much time on a public toilet. For him, you need to rethink your choices.
Yeah, you should write down a bucket list of all the things that you want to do in your life. And you
Places
should start
to poop.
trying to accomplish those because you may not have that much time left.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Max. Thank you again for listening.
Cheers.
And join us next Sunday where I am going to kill a lizard and turn it into a didgeridoo. Thank you.